The rain fell hard that morning at Camp Lejeune, slicing across the training grounds like tiny blades of cold glass. Mud clung to the boots of every trainee, turning the firing range into a swamp of grit and exhaustion. Among them stood a lone woman, her uniform soaked, her face streaked with dirt and determination. Her name was Sergeant Ava Mitchell, and she was the only woman in her Marine sniper qualification class. Around her, whispers and smirks filled the air, because to the men beside her, she wasn't supposed to be there. From the very first day, Ava felt the weight of every eye on her, not out of admiration but judgment. When she walked into the classroom for the first time, conversations stopped. Some men looked at her with curiosity, others with open disdain. They called her the quota behind her back, assuming she'd been accepted to make the program look progressive. No one saw the years she had spent clawing her way up the ranks, the endless hours on the range, or the nights she'd spent alone in the barracks replaying every failure until she learned how to turn pain into precision. The instructors were no kinder. Gunnery Sergeant Briggs, the lead trainer, was a legend, hard as steel, respected and ruthless. He'd trained some of the finest Marine snipers in modern history, and to him, standards were everything. When he saw Ava's name on the roster, he frowned. He didn't say much, but his eyes told her everything. You don't belong here. The first week was brutal. The course broke men, physically, mentally, emotionally. Long marches through swamps with full packs, days of sleep deprivation, endless calculations under pressure. Ava's body screamed in pain every night, but she refused to give in. Still, the mockery never stopped. During breaks, she'd overhear jokes about how she'd never make the shot, never survive a real op. Once, someone even swapped the firing pin in her rifle as a test. When her weapon failed to fire during a live drill, the entire class laughed, except for her. She didn't flinch, didn't break down. She fixed her weapon in silence, her eyes cold, her focus sharper than ever. But it wasn't the physical exhaustion that nearly broke her. It was the isolation. No one would talk to her. No one would team up with her for training exercises. She ate alone. She studied alone. Every night she cleaned her rifle in the dark corner of the barracks, whispering to herself that this was the price of proving them wrong. Her father, a Marine sniper killed in Iraq, had always told her, "A rifle doesn't care who pulls the trigger, and it only answers to skill." Those words became her lifeline. Then came the stalk and observe exercise, a test designed to weed out the unworthy. The trainees had to crawl undetected through rough terrain for over a mile, find a concealed firing position and hit a target at 800 yards. Failure meant elimination. As the men took their positions, many secretly hoped she'd fail. The instructors watched through spotting scopes, their expressions unreadable. Hours passed. The sun scorched the earth. One by one, trainees were spotted and failed. But Ava kept moving. Slow, silent, invisible. When her shot finally echoed across the field, the spotter called it a perfect hit. Dead center. Briggs lowered his binoculars, expression tight. For a brief moment, even he looked impressed. But pride was a dangerous thing in sniper school. The more Ava succeeded, the more some of her classmates resented her. They accused her of getting special treatment, of being helped by instructors, lies meant to discredit her. She ignored them, but the hatred was thick enough to choke on. Then, during a live-fire night drill, something went horribly wrong. The trainees were spread across a rocky ridge, engaging moving targets under starlight. Suddenly, one of the recruits, Morales, slipped and tumbled down the slope. His rifle discharged and chaos erupted. Shouts filled the night. Briggs called for ceasefire, but someone's shot rang late and a bullet grazed Ava's arm. Pain burned through her flesh as she dropped behind cover, blood soaking her sleeve. The round had come from her own team's side. It wasn't an accident. Someone had tried to scare her. She said nothing about it in the report. She just bandaged herself, stayed quiet, and kept training. But something changed inside her. She stopped trying to earn respect and started preparing to command it. Every shot she took afterward was flawless. Every challenge thrown her way, she crushed. She memorized wind patterns, distances, angles, and the smallest details that others missed. She became the ghost on the range, the one who never missed, never spoke, and never broke. When final evaluations came, the entire school gathered on the sniper line. It was a cold morning, frost coating the targets downrange. The test, 10 shots at 10 different distances, from 300 to 200 yards, with shifting winds and limited time. It was designed to push even the best to the edge of failure. One by one, the trainees took their turns. Scores were decent, but no one hit all 10. Then it was Ava's turn. She stepped forward, calm and silent, her breath steady in the crisp air. She settled behind the scope, adjusted her windage, and pulled the trigger. The first target dropped, then the second, then the third. Every shot cracked like thunder, perfectly timed between gusts of wind. By the sixth shot, the instructors had stopped whispering. By the eighth, even Briggs leaned closer, watching. When her 10th shot hit the smallest target dead center, a steel plate barely wider than a hand, the entire range went silent. Briggs walked up, checked the targets himself, then looked back at her rifle. He turned it over and froze. Carved into the rifle stock were hash marks, dozens of them. Not training tallies, real combat kills. She'd served as a spotter in Afghanistan years before sniper school, but what no one knew was that she'd taken over the rifle after her team leader went down. Those marks weren't for pride. They were for lives she couldn't forget. The instructors went pale. The men who mocked her stood speechless. Suddenly, everything about her quiet strength made sense. The steady hands, the hollow look in her eyes, the unshakable calm under pressure. She wasn't trying to prove she could be a sniper. She'd already been one. She was just trying to prove she deserved to wear the title officially. When graduation day came, Ava stood at attention, her uniform crisp, her arm still scarred from the bullet that nearly ended her training. Gunnery Sergeant Briggs pinned the insignia on her collar himself. For the first time, his voice softened. "You earned it," he said quietly. "Every damn inch of it." Years later, her name would become legend among the ranks, the Marine who fought the system and won, the sniper whose kill count whispered through the halls of history. And yet Ava never bragged, never spoke of her records. When young recruits asked her how she did it, she only said, "You fight until the silence respects you." If this story touched your heart, if you felt the fire of her courage and the weight of her journey, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Legends of History. Your support helps us share more stories of real warriors who refuse to back down. Special request: tell us in the comments, what part of Ava's story inspired you the most? Her courage, her silence, or the moment they realized who she truly was?